I seen you make a comment on your podcast about pastors being pimps. Why you feel that way?
I feel like pastors are pimps. I mean, traditionally, a lot of pastors have chosen a pimp like route where they just benefit from their congregation, you know, take the money and give them nothing basically back other than hope and, a good feeling. Um, Kind of like what pimps do to hoes, you know. Now, I'm not going to say every pastor out there is like that. Of course, there are people, um, you know, they're good people in all demographics and they're bad people in all demographics. Um, but it just seems that in the black community, we have been a victim of a lot of these pimp pastors. And um, I just think it's something to be aware of. A lot of these people that come in the name of God are not of God at all. You know, they don't have a godly bone in their body, you know. Um, so I think, you need to beware of people like that, you know. These pastors running around like that dude in Brooklyn, he got all kind of Fendi suits and Rolls Royces and jewelry and watches and you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? I thought you was, where are you getting all this from? Because your congregation don't have all of this. So, you know, and then the ones that the prosperity preachers, that's definitely on some pimp shit. So I guess that's what I was talking about when you heard me say that. First lady of the church got all kind of fur coats and, you know, opulent homes and the congregation live in the projects. What's that all about? What happened when the church used to take that money and provide the type of social programs that we beg the government for? Oh, come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We out here fucking falling into the hands of socialism, um, wanting our government to treat us like children and give us a bunch of when we could be doing for self. See, this man got enough to uh, create some programs, but you don't expect him to do that anymore. You expect him to get cars and da 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 da. You know what I mean? Um, but the church used to have funds to send people to school, or somebody roof need fixing, and not the church roof, somebody in the community. You know what I mean? Like they used to do all kind of shit like that. Like what happened to you know, and not just the church, but that was one of the main organizations that would fill those gaps. Now we just look to the government, like, and if the government doesn't do for us, we feel like, oh, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it sounds crazy when the Republicans are talking about cutting certain social programs that we, especially as black people, have traditionally embraced, um, for the fact that this is just how they have groomed us, to be like slaves. After slavery, they still, we want them to take care of us, uh, even though after slavery, we were doing better on our own. Um, but you still have that idea that, man, the white man should take care of us type of shit. And so this is where we are today with a lot of social programs. Um, yeah. If we want people to be good after they retire and all that type of shit, well, then maybe we need to put together a fund in the community to make sure that happens instead of relying on the government to do these things. You see? Because then if they don't do it, Then if they don't do it, you crying like a little fucking baby. You see? And we're not babies. We grown ass men and women, right? So let's stop fucking acting like babies and they're gonna cut funding to this and that. Okay, well, again, y'all motherfuckers came up with $50 million in a day for a woman to throw concerts. Okay? I think we can fucking come up with some bread to do some positive work in the community and not fucking rely on the government for every fucking thing. The government is in deficit of trillions of dollars. The only way to bring down inflation and all of that you're complaining about is to cut spending, to stop printing money. Because unlike the lie that they tell you that inflation comes from higher prices and price gouging and all this stupid shit that she tried to sell us during the campaign, inflation comes from the government printing more money. You're inflating the economy with more money. That's what inflation means. And that will in turn drive prices up and all that type of shit in order to try to adjust for the influx of new money. So the more you spend, you say, "Oh, we love these illegal immigrants, and we're going to give them debit cards." Where do you think that money's coming from? It doesn't come just out of nowhere. These motherfuckers will print new money in order to pay for these fucking programs, which now rises inflation. So when you're talking about deporting illegal immigrants and all that, that's to cut down the fat on these social programs. So we don't have to give debit cards to motherfuckers that ain't even supposed to be here, that are not even here legally. But we want to provide social programs because the left makes us feel like, it's humane, and they want a virtue signal with all this bullshit, even though they have no problem, with other inhumane shit in other areas. And I'll keep going back to abortion. They got no problem with that. But, they want to act like they are some of the best humans that evolution has produced. Because that's another part of evolution. They want to act like all of this shit that we're seeing, like this LG HD TV shit, they want to act like this is part of evolution. And what I mean by that, they want to act as if through evolution, things get better over time. They want us to believe that evolution is linear and that things get better over time. That's why they have no problem saying that the black man is the first man. And they try to say that all people come from Africa, right? Because what they're talking about is basically a subhuman, right? A almost like a monkeyish type of human that, now during the time, the science of genetics has been around for a long time, just put it that way. And we've been fucking around way before they was fucking around, okay? So certain types of humans were created, okay? Let's just say that, right? But so they act as if, right, this out of Africa thing, right? So if the black man was the first human, right, and if white people, right, are the newer human, because white people can only trace back to about 6,000 years ago, right? So if they're the newer human, and if we go by the theory of evolution, well, that means they're the newer, better version of man. You see? That's what they want us to believe. Okay? And that's part of why evolution supports their bullshit. But now let me take it further. So if we're getting better and better as time goes on, right? They're trying to act as if we're evolving into a more kinder human. We were very warlike at one point, but as and we still are. It's not like wars have just disappeared, but they'll act like, you know, we used to be very savage, just shooting people. Well, damn, we still shooting people on the street, huh? They'll try to act like we were way more warlike, and that everything that you're seeing now, as far as the acceptance of certain things, is by virtue of evolution, where we're becoming better, more thoughtful humans. That's the way they're trying to sell this, and that these people are actually evolved when they accept these lifestyles that we don't accept. Yeah, that's part of that goes into their little evolution toolbox, and they'll pull that out. Trust me, whenever they need to pull it out. You're like, well, really, you're being a more evolved human by, accepting this. We've evolved enough to not just accept whatever we're born as. We've evolved enough to decide what we want to be. See, it's also acting like they want to take God out the equation, and they want to act like God is fallible, as if God could make a mistake. See, this whole thing about I was born in the wrong body just reeks of God is not who you think. God is fallible. God makes mistakes. He puts people in the wrong bodies, and God ain't got his shit together. That's what they're trying to say. If you believe in God, they really don't want you to believe in any kind of God. But if you do believe in God, they want you, this is a premise to make you feel that God is fallible and he makes mistakes. Yet we live on a perfect earth. You have a perfect system. You were put together perfectly. Your nervous system combined with your immune system and your blood vessels and the way your heart pumps, and the vascular tubes, and then your brain, and all of this perfect but God is somehow imperfect. We have an ecosystem that works perfectly with each other in the world, and all this tourist fields and fucking that spins above us at perfectly timed intervals. Yeah, it don't make sense. But what did the devil want to do in the Bible? He wanted to, he was mad that he was cast out of heaven, because he wanted to be like God. That's why he was cast out. Because he wanted to be like God and maybe even be elevated. So now, the devil wants to get rid of God. And so God, or another word for God, would be nature. This is why the devil wants everything to be artificial. Think about it. When you're drinking grape soda, you're drinking an artificial grape, artificially flavored beverage. That's not real grapes in there. It's artificial. It's made to taste like grapes, even though nothing could taste like a real fucking grape. But they give you a flavor profile which you now associate with grape taste, but it's artificial. We have artificial the newest thing is artificial intelligence, right? How can artificial intelligence ever be better than real intelligence? The real intelligence of man and woman. It was a man and woman that had to create that computer. You fucking dummies. But now people are gonna be so stupid they're gonna go to artificial intelligence for all their answers, and it's gonna dumb them down. And now that and they and that's gonna become God. You're gonna go to God for your answers. How do I do this? God. So now they have artificial men, artificial women, artificial tits, artificial hair, artificial muscles, artificial dicks, artificial puppies, artificial arms and they want you to feel like all of this artificial is something that you should want. This is the trick the devil has played on us. Now your whole world is artificial. Your whole life is artificial. Your car has what inside of it? It has how much horsepower, right? You're driving an artificial horse. You're driving an artificial horse. If you had 48 horses, it would, you know what I mean? 48 real horses, but this is the artificial power of 48 real horses, or however many horsepower. I'm just making up a number. Like, you see what I'm saying?